Kashgar. It is also from here that Islam came to China. Next. China is 9.6 million square kilometers, the second or the third largest country in the world. I think Canada might be. Xinjiang is 1.6 million square kilometers. It borders 8 countries: Mongolia, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan. All of them, Russia has a large Muslim population, but Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan are largely Muslim populations. China's population is 1.4 billion. Xinjiang's is 25 million only. Very, very small population. Out of those 25 million, 45% are Han, the Chinese, you know, Han Chinese. 55% are Uyghurs, the people that we are going to talk about, and other minorities, the Tajiks and elsewhere. In 1949, the year of the revolution, the Han were 25% of the population. Because of the population flow westwards, now the numbers have gone up from 25% to 45%. Xinjiang, agriculture. If you, I took the train from Beijing to Urumqi. I took the plane. It's 4,000 miles, and the fast trains are going only to a small distance. From Urumqi to Kashgar, it took me 24 hours. I took the train, and it's what can I compare it to? In Pakistan, if it is, you are going to quite a very mountainous, barren lands, and then you come to this oasis. What a large, wonderful oasis, and which has all sorts of fruits, cotton. It has maize and corn and everything. It's self-sufficient in food. Like Balochistan in Pakistan, it has tons of mineral resources: coal and iron, zinc and chrome, nickel and copper, molybdenum, tungsten, petroleum and natural gas. Petroleum and natural gas, some of the largest reserves are found there. And now, in recent days, in recent years, there is 100 million plus tourists who go to China, because the Chinese people, they've now have a disposable income, and so Xinjiang is different from the rest of China. So many, many, many people, over 100 million people go there, and tourism has become a very big industry. Because of extra government investments, also because of those reasons, Xinjiang's economic growth rate has been slightly higher for China's for the past 10 or 12 years. So China's average rate has been now 7%, 8%, 6.5%. Theirs has been 9%, 10%, 11%. That's what I know. Next. The per capita, you'll be surprised. China's per capita income is $18,000 per year, according to the CIA fact book. Nearly. Xinjiang's is 14,000. You know how per capita incomes are inexact. They average out the more well-off, the less well-off, etc., etc. So China's is 18,000. Beijing and Shanghai would be higher. Some places would be lower. Xinjiang's is 14,000, and even there's a division between the urban areas and the rural areas. To compare, India's per capita income, according to the same source, is $7,700 per year. So it is less, it is half of Xinjiang's and much less of China's. In Pakistan, which also has very great disparities, let's say urban and rural, Balochistan, etc., Pakistan's per capita income is 5,800. In China, they have said that, as all of us have read, that 800 million people have been lifted from poverty. in the past 30 years. China has announced that by 2020, they will completely eliminate absolute poverty in their country. I wish we could say that same thing in Pakistan and India, and even I see a couple of Iranian comrades, even in Iran, which is oil rich, there is still a significant amount of absolute poverty. Literacy in China is 99%. I doubt these figures for India and Pakistan, but then I didn't want to fiddle with them. I just wanted to use one source. Xinjiang's literacy is at par with China's. One difference, that in Pakistan and India, male literacy is higher than female literacy, quite a bit. In Xinjiang or in China, that difference doesn't exist. In Xinjiang, in the very remote areas, elderly women, there might be a disparity, but otherwise, because education is mandatory till 16 years of age, everybody must go to school. That literacy for the past 40 years, 50 years, has been there. Yep. So, the Beijing, all the pictures are, I have taken them. This is the Beijing railway station, must have been done in 1920, 1930. Beijing, of course, is the capital. It is it has a population of 20 or 25 million people. So few other railway stations or airports in the country can compare with this, maybe Shanghai. But what did I see when I arrived in Kashgar? I got off the train and I'm looking for an exit or an entry or some stairs or escalators or what. So everybody's walking towards the end of the platform. I said, what the hell? Anyways, so I followed everybody. I was the last person. I was very reluctant to walk that way, but I did. And there they were, all the way down and then all the way across and then through whatever. So this was my first view of Kashgar. And I said, well, if they are having difficulties, if they're having problems, but this is the reason why. Next. I was wrong. This picture is then the first picture from the taxi. Other pictures, this is not a travelogue that I'm sharing with you, just to give you an example of, these are very, very modern cities. They're not like Shanghai, they're not like Beijing, they're not like even Xi'an, but, or Nanjing. But anyways, these are very modern cities, clean sewage systems, roads, lights, the whole bit is here. Next. This is from a tower, and this would be Kashgar. Next. This is the suburbs of Urumqi. Forests of high-rises in Beijing, in Shanghai, everywhere, here also, but just to a lesser extent. Prisoners. How many prisoners are in Xinjiang? I don't know. I didn't go there. Other people, BBC and all, have gone there. But I did like a bit of looking into it. There is an organization called the World Prison Population List. Their 11th edition says that there are 10.5 million prisoners in jail worldwide. 10.5 million. Keep that figure in mind. The US has the largest number of prisoners in the world. And so I just looked. Brazil, 209 million people, 371,000 prisoners. China, 1.4 billion people, and 1,500,000 prisoners. India, 1.3 billion people, 332,000. Indonesia, large populations, large prison populations also. Mexico. The two exceptions are Nigeria, 190 million and 40,000, and Pakistan, 210 and 83. I think that here all the guilty people are walking in the streets, and only a very few they've been able to arrest and put them there. The Russia, 110,874,000. The US, 330 million people, 1/4 of China, and their prisoner population is 2.1 million, 2.2 million people. This is from the World Prison Population List. You can look it up on Wikipedia, you can look up anywhere that you want to. Next. The US, having 4 to 5% of the world's population, has 20% of the world's prisoners. They are mostly black and mostly Latin Americans. Canada. Is Canada any better? Canada's indigenous population is only 5% less, 4.5% of the Chinese population, of the Canadian population. But of its prison population, a full quarter, even more, 27% are native peoples, indigenous peoples. It is this racism, it is this, in my opinion, what they are doing to their own peoples, they project onto others. Imagine if a country with 350,000 million people, which has the highest rate, it has got only 2 million prisoners. How can 11 to 12 million people in Xinjiang have the ratio of 1 million or 2 million or 3 million? If that was true, you wouldn't see men walking around. As a matter of fact, some friends of mine who have lived through Germany, post-war Germany and post-war Russia, they've told me that because of the very, very heavy loss of life in the Second World War, male life in the Soviet Union and in Germany, the male-female ratio was very skewed. And it was literally true that at times you could tell by looking at things that there were so fewer men than women, because many men also not only died, but were injured because of the war. Where did this figure come from? All of you have read the Western media. They all quote a UN report. A UN report says there are 1 million Uyghurs in jail. What UN report? If I were to tell you that when I looked into it, I was shocked that the Western media lies, that I know, but that they would absolutely fabricate something. You can write this down. No, the UN did not report China has massive internment camps for Uyghur Muslims. Ben Norton and Ajit Singh, they did a paper. It's published in Global Research. It really goes through the details. The United Nations Human Rights Commission was meeting 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. There were deputations paid to that. One person got up and made the claim. I forget the woman's name, but she was an American. And she said, no, I have heard that there are 1 million, I've been told that there are 1 million Uyghurs in jail in Xinjiang. People asked her right then, but what is your source? And she couldn't give a source. You should really have a look at this paper. Security is very tight in Xinjiang. In China, generally speaking, security is tighter than in the United States and in Canada. Here, where do we have security? In airports, of course. Take your shoes off, take your belt off, and all that kind of stuff. That happens in China. It happens in the train stations in China. And it happens, two main places it happens. But you see the gas station? In the rest of the country in China, it's like normal gas stations. You come, you drive your car, you fill your tank in, and you go out. In Xinjiang, in Kashgar and Urumqi, the gas stations they have a barrier, a big barrier. So you drive your car up, like that car, and you stop. And a policeman, military guy, or whatever, he will look in the back of the car, and he will look on the sides of the car, so that if nobody is carrying some kind of dynamite or whatever, because if they were to blow a gas station, the devastation would be immense. In Urumqi and in Kashgar, the places that I saw, that square blue box, that size, that's a larger size, but that size or slightly smaller size. Every kilometer or so, every major intersection has that. Do you know what that is? It's a police station. Very, very heavy presence of police everywhere. If you go to a hotel, I don't know, this is not a very clear picture, but in the hotel that I was staying in, you have to pass through those, what do you call them, the electronic thingy, and you've got to put your luggage through the X-ray machine. It isn't very, very strictly enforced, but it is there. And even in restaurants or in public places, it is there. Some people, 3, 4 of us from the hotel, we went from Kashgar up to the Pamir Plateau. And so we are going from the urban area to the rural areas. And I did that 2 or 3 times. I went to the Makalatan Desert, and then I went to Lake Tiaji, Heavenly Lake, from the urban areas to the rural areas. You have to get permission like that. So we have a visa for China, but within